Hear ye, all citizens of Comicsgate Empire. Welcome to the CG Herald draw stream. Now, today, as you can already see on the thumbnail, this is going to be drawing Gotham characters. As Ethan Van Sciver so eloquently put it in his CG Kings draw stream. So, naturally, I'm going to be drawing Harley Quinn. And maybe some other characters. We shall see. It depends on how long this will take me. So let's turn this on. Hello, everybody. One of these days, I am going to actually come up with a legit CG Herald intro rather than just doing the after hours art stream one. That will happen at some point. I don't know when, but it will happen. And I'm also realizing that I completely forgot to mirror my iPad screen onto my computer. So give me a second to do that. I knew that there was something I was forgetting to do before going live. Nope, get off of there. One thing I will say, though, that after hours art stream music is pretty damn catchy. It sticks with your head. All right. Now that I have my screen ready, I will share. And we will start. Piss off. Yes, I know it's accessing my screen, dipshit. Sorry, Chrome was just being like, yes, it's accessing your screen. Yes, I know. It's supposed to be, so I can actually share something. Okay. So, do I want to get into what the composition is going to be, or do I want to make it a surprise? I think I'm going to. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking about doing. I'm thinking about putting Harley in front and have like Scarecrow behind her. So it's sort of like he's like a horror movie villain, just like waiting behind her. But saying that and doing that are two completely different things, and I have not done that yet. So I will jump into that. How to... Okay, let's do this. Let's do starting with line of motion. Do that. Shoulders. This is going to be a very, very quick kind of sketch just to see where we're starting off here. Testing. Okay. So let's start here. That. That started. Okay. Like I said, this is going to be very rough to start off. And I'm not going for like the current Harley look. I'm going for like the classic, like whenever she was first introduced look. So like the jester outfit, like from whenever she first appeared um in the animated series. So I need to remember to make this into almost like a cylinder so I can properly make it look 3D-ish. Okay, so if that is right there. So, okay. To make the leg go down here and over this way. So I can make the thighs bigger. Right. Then, shoulders might be a bit too wide. Okay. Right there. And I'll have her looking up this way. So let's try and get like the basic shape of the head on here. It's about right for going for stylized. Then put that little guideline on there. Why is my phone going off? All right. And we'll give her a little bit more puffy cheeks than usual. So put that there. That's where like cheek to cheek. Get that. Right about here is where the ear would be, but her classic costume wouldn't allow for ears. You just had to imagine where that would be. Then right about here would be where the mouth is. Right there. forming the basic shape of the face. And let's make whoa, that was not meant to happen. Get rid of the color fill. That's because I was practicing on something else earlier. There was a coloring process that I want to try. And I was trying to think of how to do it based on the speed paint that I saw that needs redone. Uniform, because I'm happy with how that head looks. No, she has to have some kind of neck. Would she be looking this way? Okay, I'm okay with that size. There we go. All right, and now let's do shoulder. How do I want this shoulder to be? Because I want her to be like holding her mallet so that it's like right here in the back part of her ear. 1 second. I need to figure out where her where this part of her jester outfit's going to be. So if I put that there, I think that needs to be higher. Otherwise, it looks like it's coming out the side of her head, which would not be good. No, I need to lay out this a little bit better. So side be right there. Top of it would be here. Benefit of this is I don't need to worry about her hair. So that's a good thing for me. Okay. So now that's where it can go. I can base it off of that area because it goes right about where the edge of that like face framing is. Then can do the same thing that we do with the other stuff and just make it look like a 3D object. Can't do that because I need to see where this is going to be going. All right. Okay. And that Might be a bit too big, but I can clean that up in the inking stage. I think I might have made her waist too big. Okay. Crisis somewhat averted. Let's see. Hang on a second. Because I'm trying to do this entirely from imagination. Like, I just have a reference of what Harley's costume looks like pulled up on my computer. And then going from there. Let's see if she's holding it like this. A minute. All right. So I'm trying to add some more like emotion to this. Sort of like Harley's getting freaked out. That just looks so weird. Hang on a second. Let's try doing this arm. Because ideally I want to have like Scarecrow in the background over here. So it's like creepy ass motherfucker back here. And like she doesn't know that he's back there. So I'm trying to have it be like somewhat scary-ish. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to draw this arm. Okay, right there. Okay. I can get behind that. And my other computer just shut down. Give me a moment. Nope. Nope, wrong one. All right. Good, I have that pulled up still. So what I can do with this arm is I can have it go across. Have this be where it ends, or where the upper part of her arm ends. And then right about here is where it can go. There we are. Okay. I may finally be getting this whole perspective thing down at long last. Got that. Okay. And then if I have the mallet going up this way, try to this might work. All depends on how thick I want this thing to be. Okay, we can make the forearm a bit thinner. Yeah, definitely thinner. As can this one. And then can have if I have this here, then it would be this is the part of hands that I hate. Let's do the hands that are facing away. Okay, gotta have that little dip in there. All right, throw that on. And then that would be her thumb, obviously. That looks so freaking small. I may have misjudged the size of the mallet. I hate hands. Have I ever said that? Yes, I know that I have. It's gotta be down that way. And I hate hands. I hate them so much. Okay. Let's put a pause on the hands for now. And let's draw some other stuff. Namely, some more fun stuff. Going. No, dear God, no. Then there. It's maybe one time whenever I need to actually like minimize the size. Okay. It's not too crazy. Okay, that's more manageable. I'm okay with that. And since I'm having such a problem with the hands, I might as well do the face now. So let's start with the nose, and we can start with the guideline for that. And we can make it a little bit more circular. Throw on the outer parts of it. All right. And she has like that sort of like domino mask on. So that should align with this part of her nose quite easily. And that goes right up to where her eyebrows would be. But that's also if she was like doing a regular expression. So I'm going to try something. I'm going to try I'm going to try to add a little bit of an uncertain expression to her face. This will be entirely new ground for me because I haven't tried to do this before. Okay, so gotta get those parts of her eye in. That's where eyebrow would be. Still working on improving some stuff, guys, so. I give you full permission to hold my feet to the fire. Got that. Right about there's where the nose would be. If it was a 3D model. Okay. I think for this, her eyes need to be open wide. And I think they need to be taller. Yeah, definitely. Okay. No. Freeform, this one. Okay. And that might mean that her nose has to get moved over too. All right. A lot of this comes down to like where her eyes are looking. I'm okay with that for now. But that hand is still throwing me off. This needs to be better. Huh. What if I made it bigger? Let's try doing that. But not touch the thumb. It looks slightly better. It's better than it was. That's for sure. And it's about the right size of what the back of the hand would be. So I am actually okay with that. Now for the other one. This one might be... I'm going to come back to that. Let's finish up where her neck would be. That'd be right about there. That might be... That might be too thin of a neck. like that. There we go. All right. Okay, I'm all right with that. But I think I need to change. Yep, I need to change something. I need to change where the mallet is going to be. Because that makes more sense. Whoop, that's far too much. That needs to be changed. What the heck? Okay. Is that what I'm looking for? Yes. Oh, that's so much better. Why wasn't I using that before? All right, and this part would go down to here. Let's do something a little different than usual. So this be going around there. That would be a bit too much. Okay. So the mallet would be going down. Let's give it some sort of base. Some sort of base for her to grab onto. And one finger. Again, that hand is going to be too small. So, just bump it up. Got that. Now we have come on. No. Just for the sake of being able to actually see this thumb, let's make that a tiny bit bigger. And have I told you guys how much I hate drawing hands? This is why. Okay, got that. Got that there, and let's do for the pinky. She'll just have that out. That is way too big of a hand. There. That right here is where the fingernail would be. There. Okay. Looks a little bit awkward, but I'm okay with it for the most part. And let's throw the mouth on. That would be right about here. Now, normally Harley would be like all smiley and stuff, but in this situation, I don't think I want her to be. I want this to be sort of like she's like sent out into like the middle of nowhere, and just like Joker's just like, go out there, Harley. You're just go on like a treasure hunt or some shit. She's like, yes, Mr. J, or whatever. I can't do a Harley accent. That. No, that might be too full of the lips. Actually, hold on. If I do that, then it's not as crazy, but she still has all of that down there. So let's move this over here a bit. Sort of like she's more concerned. But I can still be bigger. All right, I'm okay with that. Needs to be moved up tiny bit. Yep, there we go. All right, and let's add in. I'm gonna. Her mask is gonna have black in it already, so I'm not gonna add like eyelashes. Actually. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll do a slightly different interpretation of Harley. solely so I can try to better myself here. The mask will still cover most of, like, her face. But I still want to... Whoa, that's too much. I still want to try to add some sort of stuff to, like, her eyes. Because those eyes seem like they are very big. Okay, so there. That would be there. There. Right there. I'm going to give her... Now that I'm changing around how the mask looks, I am going to give her slight eyelashes. Just very minimal. I'll work on that part whenever I get to the inking, because there's not that much stuff over there. Okay, and I can work on the lines on her suit. Go right there. Okay, and she has the... What is it? She has like that, like, gesture collar type thing. So that would be right down. Needs to go a bit further down. So the end of it would be right above her boobs. Get that there. And this part wouldn't be seen because it's on the other side. This one be right about there. Okay. And then how am I going to draw these? Let's do the rest of the suit first. That would go right down between the boobs. And then let's see. Mid area would be around here. So up there, up and through. Okay. And then a part that would divide Okay. No, this part back here needs to curve a bit more. Okay. I'm okay with that. That looks fine. Now let's add some more detail over here. But I need to also do I also need to do the parts that she has on her wrist. Which means that some of this stuff that I had been making for the like the guidelines for the hands and the fingers may be rendered null and void. Oh, delightful. Okay. I think what I'll do is this needs to be more emphasized. So whenever I get to the inking stage, I can actually make it. Okay. Got that. I think this hand could be made a little bit bigger. I'm going to test it out and see. Yeah, I definitely think that could have been bigger. Yep, I'm okay with that. It looks like a minuscule thing to me, maybe to you guys, but to me, it was definitely holding it back. Okay, so her right side would have the diamond design on it. And these designs are some of the things that I see changing around quite often whenever it comes to like where they appear and how many of them are on her outfit. So I may be throwing some on here all willy-nilly. We shall see. So there's another one. I want to say right about here. Actually, you know what? No, I can see those. I was gonna almost maybe do those in like a red pencil, or I don't know why I'm saying pencil because this is digital, but I was thinking about doing that in a different color just so that they stand out, but I can see them perfectly fine. Okay. So now that we have that on there, her eyes still look very, very bland. So let's try adding No, that looks even worse. Again, the eyes are a very delicate thing. You put the wrong line in the wrong area, which I think that this entire eye is in the wrong area. I think it needs to be moved over a tiny bit. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. And then we can toy around with that just a tiny bit. So let's make this eraser very tiny. Get that in there. Again, this is all to make Harley look uneasy. I may have to change that later on. Fuck. I worry about that whenever I'm inking it. Because I do have an idea. Let's make the mallet be almost like tilting over this way. Good lord. Okay, make this a bit bigger. Needs to be done better. All right. So here we go. Then I'll be right there. And we'll make it a big mallet so that it stands out. So, yeah, that's more like it. Right here, too. So that would be the guideline that I would need to go for. And we'll put metal no. Need to do the other side first. Stylize it. There we go. Alrighty. Now put some metal bracing on this part. Okay. And we got to do it on the other side too. Now the goal is to make this look like it is quite weathered. Like it's hit Batman several times far too hard. All right. That. Emphasize the head. That. This would go up there. Okay. Looked like it was curving a bit too much. Okay. That. So there's some like metal bolts in there to hold it in place properly. And get it up here. Okay. Sorry if I'm not talking as much as I usually do, guys, but I'm trying to put my best foot forward whenever it comes to making this one, because I have high ambitions for it. All right. So we have that. Finalize that line. And we can start to add some weathering into here. And we got... I'm going to add some of the wood grain in here. But not too much, because I don't want it to take away from Harley. And we put that there just to highlight where the handle of it is coming in too. Okay. I think that might be too short of a handle. I think just to make this look more goofy, I'll make this a bit more curved. Yeah, I'm liking that. And then down here, I can have this be sort of wrapped like a baseball bat. So she has a good grip on it when she swings. Yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out so far. Still gotta add some weathering in here. Now this side is going to show a little bit less because it's not showing the side, obviously. But there's still the inner part of the wood. And what I think I'm going to do is that. No, that shouldn't have been there. There we go. Okay. That would be where the division is. And follow that down there. Yeah. All right. What is that hand? That hand is still throwing me off. Okay. I'm going to leave it. If that causes problems later on, then we'll see. Okay. No. That's too much. That there. Okay. And we can also throw in some of this on the inside, since it looks like it would be cut from like the trunk of a tree. Okay. And here is where the fun part's going to be coming in. So I want to have Scarecrow over in like this area now. So I'm trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to do this. Okay. So if I have him... So I'll have like one of those wooden posts that you could hang a scarecrow on back here. Okay, that'll be the frame for where he is. And I almost want him to be like what is it? The New Adventures of Batman and Robin Scarecrow, where he is much more like creepy rather than literal Scarecrow like he is in the first couple series of the animated series. So I think I'll do that. The good thing is that I can throw... I'm going to try to do this starting with the face. Okay, so good thing is with him being a scarecrow, he doesn't need to look necessarily accurate per se to human anatomy. So what I can do is I will elongate his face and maybe throw it a little bit off balance. So this would be forehead. This would be nose, or where there would be a nose. Because I can... Let's do this. This is going to be completely just unplanned chaos here for a moment. Okay, got that. Because there has to be some kind of like eyebrow here to show like his very stern, scary expression. And throw that on here. Sort of almost like sunken in look. And almost like he has like a bag over his face, but also like a skull-ish look to it that's like protruding through. Okay. I'm okay with that so far. And then there could be some more parts that are hanging down, almost like a jack-o'-lantern mouth. So we'll have that go to down here. Actually, you know what? I am going to take a little bit of inspiration from the New Adventures Batman and Robin version and have a noose tied around here to sort of like hold the mask on. And this part we can move up ever so slightly. Get those parts that are connected from the bottom to the top. Sort of like a burlap sack that's like being ripped open. And then everything inside of here would be like, everything inside of here would be either pitch black or like the hint of like like skull teeth. Because like a jack-o'-lantern, it would look like all jagged and stuff. So we have that. And this part, with the noose, it would have several rows right around this area. Keep that going. That. Okay, that line would keep going around here. And then obviously the next part would be like the hat. So let's make that like oversized. Nope, that's too cartoony. Too cartoonishly oversized. And throw that on there. Okay, and I think this can even go a little bit lower. Yeah, right about there. And then this part, whenever this gets small enough, it would just hang loosely down here. There. Nope, too far. Right there. And then from there, let's go with like a coat that has like a very high collar. And just hangs low. Okay, got that. I don't know why I just threw that on there. There we are. So it's almost like a giant coat that's like almost big enough to like envelop Harley entirely. And then we got that. Throw in a bit of tears in there. That on here. Okay. Actually, that can go bigger. That can definitely go bigger. If anything, go to the extreme. Stylize the shit out of it. Okay. Got Got that. Ignore that part. Unless... that can be like... that can be the grungy part from him, like, walking along, like, the base of a cornfield. That can work. And then... I'm gonna torture myself after this. In Minecraft. Oh my. Okay, I'm gonna have to draw another hand. Thankfully, it can be stylized, so I'm not going to complain about that. Okay. Got that going down here. Okay. Now... yep. That... it's going up here. Okay. And now this part, let's do the grunginess up here. I can just go right up to... yep, right there. And this part, we don't need that. No, no, no. Okay. I still feel like she needs something. I don't know what. I shouldn't even be worrying about that right now. I should just be working on finishing this up. And what I'm going to do is I'll have the inside of here just be like complete darkness, with the exception of maybe like the very top of his shirt. Yeah, I can work with that. And then this part up here would just be the arms. And then, let's see, shoulder would be around here. So, there. And then up here. And then... so this would be the elbow. And I want to say that's where, like, the tattered part of this jacket is going to come down. So it comes out of there. Okay, that works for me. And then right here is where the wrist would be. I'm going to hate myself. Okay. Not bad so far for an hour and 30 minutes. Okay. Testing. Good. Still working. And now... that, although this should probably be more around here. That. Yeah, Scarecrow definitely needs bigger hands. More like bigger and elongated. So, yeah, that works. Get rid of that. And then... I'm going to say that works for now. And we can return to that if it becomes a problem later. Oh, my mouse was stopped working for a second. And Arlepex Q6P says, "What's up? Do you remember me?" I do not, unfortunately. Care to refresh my memory? Well, I tried to work on some fingers over here. It's me, Slayant Apex. Were you in the chat on one of the streams a couple days ago? Slayant plays Rivals. That name does sound more familiar. Yes, the Spider-Man one. Okay. Yeah, now I remember you. Were you on a different account? Like, was that on, like... You weren't on Rumble, were you? This hand is throwing me for a loop. So that... Okay, work through this slowly. Okay, I figured out what the problem is. Oh, same account, different name. Okay. That explains it. Yeah, because you popped up and I was like, I don't know who this person is. I don't think I've seen them before. But that helps explain it. All right. No, that just looks strange. Okay. Well, since you're here, Silent Apex, I'll show you the whole piece that I'm working on so far. This one is Gotham Characters, and I figured I would try drawing Harley Quinn and Scarecrow in like a combined piece. And now I'm stuck with Scarecrow's hands. It's taking a bit of time to actually get that working correctly. Let's see. And you say, wow, great art. Thank you. Man, I can't even draw a hand. Trust me, sometimes I feel the exact same way, like right now. Sometimes it takes quite a bit of time to actually figure out like where it's like the fingers are the biggest problem for me right now. I think I may have to redo this part. Because this hand is annoying the shit out of me. But I'll just pull it to the side for now. And then I can deal with that after I get this hand, or this forearm figured out. Because I think it's too thin. Okay, let's make... Nope. I need to switch over to the brush. Yeah, this is more like it. That's definitely gonna be much better. Okay, yeah. That's partly what the problem was. Forearm wasn't big enough. And now I can get rid of this part. And I'll also get rid of the hand because I don't need that one right now. All right. What am I drawing with? I'm drawing in Procreate on the iPad. So there's the full sketch. I'm drawing with an Apple Pencil, and well, I have it mirrored onto my computer, so that's why you're seeing the mouse on here. And I just need to have it so that it's not like on the screen because it's only showing up on like StreamYards for me. But I'm drawing on the iPad on. Let me see if I can do this without knocking the stand over. So it's plugged into my computer, and I'm drawing on here. Trust me, I've tried drawing with the mouse back whenever I was first starting. It is a pain in the butt. I do not want to do that ever again. It's way too difficult, and it's not as precise as drawing with an Apple Pencil. Okay, whoop. So, got that. But yes, I can see why you would think it would be the mouse because of the mouse popping up on there occasionally. I try to not have it pop up on there because it does annoy me a little bit. But what can you do? Limitations of technology. Yep, I know, right? All right, so this is where the first one would be. Here would be the second, third, and pinky. Okay, this one is already starting off more promising than than the one before. Because I want to get like his fingers like all spindly, like a thin scarecrow. So hopefully this works. No, that needs to be further out. Okay. I'm gonna go with that for now. No, they still need to be bigger. Like middle right here. I'm trying to lean a little bit more into the stylization for this one. And a lot of it just comes down to how far I want to push it. Okay, that's promising. Excuse me. So I want there to be like, I want it to be like bony fingers. So far, that seems to be working all right. Okay. No, that needs to be angled ever so slightly differently. Okay. Got that going, got that. I think I'll let you lock in. You don't have to. I'm still open to like carrying on a conversation. In fact, it gives me something to like actually talk about rather than just me rambling. So if you have any questions or anything, then certainly feel free to ask them. I'll gladly answer them. I like it a lot better whenever I can actually like converse with people in the chat. So no problem with talking in there. All right. So we have 4 down, 1 to go. I still might end up having to change this a tiny bit. Because these fingers may need lengthened a bit. I think they do. Because there we go. And we'll bump this middle one out a little bit as well. And I think I'm going to test something out. See if this goes all right. And angle this out a bit more. And then this one's going to be all about angles. That a tiny bit bigger. Angle that. And then make the middle one the biggest. And angle that too. I may have figured out what my issue was. Okay. And now the middle, there. Now the index finger. And then we'll be Done with the fingers. I think the index finger could use a little bit more there. Okay. And I think... What else do I need to have? I'll give him, like, long fingernails. Just so there's, like, some kind of scary thing having to go on with his hands. Other than just his hands. And it's sort of like zombie hands with like decaying and stuff. Good thing with Scarecrow is like you can do almost anything that's like creepy as shit with him. And it'll just make him look better. Like, I'm planning on doing like a tier list of the absolute Batman characters with like, I don't know anything about the absolute universe, but I know like the bare minimum that like Bruce Wayne's not rich and he is not like, he doesn't have Alfred. So it's pretty much like an entirely different story, just like same character names. And their version of Scarecrow is like creepy, creepy, creepy. So I give them props for that. Okay. And I'll put the end of that pole over here that he would be hanging on. Okay. And right about there would be the ropes that could like hold him in place. And right there too. Okay, and throw in some wood grain. Don't know why I'm doing that on the sketch part, but whatever. And that would go all the way across here. Hat would be... That hat can go all the way over there. I don't care. Throw in the wood grain. Again, I don't know why I'm doing that on the sketch, but we'll see. I'll throw on the back part of the whatever stand he's on. Got that. Get rid of that. Okay. So, what do I want to have in like the background? I want to try something real quickly. Let's put this on a different layer because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or not. Because like the general premise of this piece was like, I want Harley to be scared. And I think this might be the way to do it. All right. All right, I think that worked okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll add sort of like a cornfield background. And then I will be able to call it a day. At least whenever it comes to this. And I think what I'll do is I'll have like the silhouette of a cornfield background, and I'll have like rim lighting whenever it comes to the leaves and the corn and stuff. So it won't take up too much focus from Harley and Scarecrow. Okay, got that. Okay. I think I need to add some more little bits here. So just parts that are sticking straight up. Now, pretty much like all of this, except for like just Harley's costume pulled up on my other computer, just so that I know, like, remembered what the design was. Pretty much all of this was just from my head. So forgive me for maybe messing up a couple things with like how these corn stalks look or whatever the heck they're called. Okay. So I think That actually turned out pretty darn good. Now, I still need to work on, like, my timing so that I can get more than just a sketch done in 2 hours. But overall, I would say that this actually was quite productive. All right. Just want to get some of the last minute final details in here. Get that down there. Okay. And still feel like these could be bigger. But I also want her to have more like delicate hands. Which sounds strange because it is Harley and she does swing a giant frickin' mallet around, but she is not like Bane with big muscles and crazy metabolism. I think that works out fine. Okay. I would say that is... I was going to say that was mostly good, but I feel like there's still more that I could do up here. And I think that may be because she needs to have this part of her collar go up a bit. Have that go straight down, and there we are. Okay. Okay, I'm all right with that. And then everything else, this can be black. This would definitely be black. And I want to say that this would also be black. Oh, and up here. Okay, so let's add a little bit of a rim to that. Okay. And then throw that in. We'll just add some little minor details in here. And then this part. Okay, I can get behind that. This is... no. Still has to have something in here. Or... how do they even draw those? How can I do this? Because that just looks fucking weird. I'm trying to not draw his eye like a human. And instead have it be like white on this inner part and like pitch black everywhere else. But I may just be adding more details to just make this more of a pain. Actually, it doesn't look bad. Because it looks like it's like inside of the burlap sack. I'm okay with that. Okay, got that. And I think this needs something. Yeah, it needed some grime to it. Yep, yeah, that definitely helped. Much better. And I think I'm starting to hear some thunder coming, so maybe a good time to end the stream. Got that. This part. Okay. So, depending on what I feel like doing, I may ink this at some other point this week, just not right now. I think that I keep saying that I think, or I keep going to say I think that I'm okay with how this has turned out, but then I realize that there's some more things that I could do, like adding slightly bigger eyelashes so that you can actually see them. Okay, that's slightly better. Okay. I'm going to keep critiquing this if I don't stop right now. So I'm going to say that this is the final sketch. Yeah, I'm going to say that this is the final sketch. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me go through this. It was fun in most parts, aggravating in other parts, but every bit of art is a new lesson and a new day. So if I even get 1% better each time, then I will count that as a positive. And I think that this has turned out somewhat decently. So, hope you guys enjoyed that. If you would, since this... Okay, there we are. Gonna move that over there. And since this is a CG Herald stream, what I'm going to do is I will show you. Okay. What you can do is there anything? Okay, there's nothing bad. Okay. So stop sharing that. And since this is the third episode of CG Herald, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the stream that this is inspired by, and that is... Nope, that's the wrong thing. If you go over to Ethan Van Sciver's channel, that is Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and it is the Comic Skate Kings draw stream. This stream right here that I'm doing is sort of my challenge to draw along with the legends. And the reason why I'm not calling it like CG Kings is because I know that I'm not on their level, but I have just enough of an ego to know that I don't belong in like the CG serfdom. So, yeah, that's why I have this as the CG Herald stream. I hope that you guys enjoy it. I also hope that you go and support the actual professional artists as well. So you can see Ethan Van Sciver, Dan Lawless, Vasilis Lolos, Billy Tucci, Shanthan Jetty, Bosch Foston, EJ Morges, and Shane Davis. There's also John Malin and R.T. Bear, Aaron Lepresti, Graham Nolan. All of these guys are ones who regularly come on to CG Kings. So if you want to see fantastic art that is far and away better than anything that I could come up with, definitely go over and support them and watch them. But since you're here, I would ask you please like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see more stuff like this. I'm going to be putting out more pre-recorded videos as well, probably some art stuff or art involved stuff, as well as some pop culture videos. And like I was saying, the like a tier list of the character designs in the Absolute Batman universe. Um, but yeah, keep an eye out for all of that. Thank you guys for stopping by. I did see a couple of you pop in from time to time, and thank you to R Lapex Q6P, and well, also known as Silent Apex. And thank you all for stopping by and indulging me. And I hope to see you guys in some other streams and in some other videos. Thank you. I still need to work on how to like do an outro. So I'm just going to say sayonara. Thank you guys for watching. And I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out.